Good evening. The book I read is called The Revenge of Geography by Robert D. Kaplan. So the summary of this book can be summed up in one quote that is in here by a geopolitician named W. Gordon East. And he says, nature imposes and man disposes. So basically this book is about all the world conflicts and how they're basically at the core of the conflict is something about geography, what a country has because of where it's located on the world, how physical borders deter countries from doing certain things that they want to do, and how they go around that by going to war with other countries. And it goes back to the times of Mesopotamia, and it goes all the way to the conflicts we have now, even though this book was published in 2012, still talks about that. That was actually one of the things I disliked. The author, he jumps around between so many different conflicts that I haven't really ever heard of, like the Safavid Empire. I don't know what that is. What is Usauria? I don't know where that is. Because the book is broken up into 3 parts, he still jumps around between different conflicts that happen. And I have no prior knowledge of any of these events, so it doesn't really help, and I had to stop and research stuff that he was talking about so that I could have a better idea of the point he was trying to get across. Unless you're a history major in world history, I don't think this book would be very easy to read. Another thing I don't like is that Robert Kaplan, the author, was a foreign correspondent for 30 years, and he's held many different positions on big military panels, like at the United States Naval Academy, the Defense Policy Board, and he's currently a member of the U.S. Navy's executive panel. He puts and interjects a lot of personal opinions into this book, which I'm not a fan of, just simply for the fact that it has nothing to do with geography. I don't really care how you felt about the Iraq War, or the fact that you had something to do with us going to war with Iraq. Other people who take political bias really seriously might, but also he wrote this book about geography, but he also has a lot of statements in there that have nothing to do with geography. And that doesn't really help the book. Unless you're like a politician and you want to read this book as a geopolitical book. Maybe that's the point of the interjections. Also, he refers to such outdated geopoliticians from like the early 20th century. Although geography doesn't really change that often, except for the man-made changes that we like to do, a lot of the ideas from those geopoliticians that he refers to incessantly, like Mackinder and Morgenthau, their ideas might have been really like gung-ho during their time in life, but right now they're not really relevant anymore because things have changed so much in the past 100 years. Also, I don't like the fact that Kaplan doesn't counter-argument his thoughts. It shows me that he doesn't think he's wrong, and that he just doesn't acknowledge them, period. Doesn't mean they don't exist. But anyways, I do not recommend this book because of the fact that it was a hard read. I had to stop and research, which interrupted the flow of the book. I did not really care for the personal opinions, but overall, the content was interesting, but I do not recommend this book for the Commandant's reading list.